Hi again. This is Equal Pay regarding child support for Missouri. Just signing in today to talk to you about the Missouri Form 14. Everybody's familiar with this if they've ever had to do a divorce with children or go through a child support modification. The Form 14 tells you all about how much money you have to pay, and it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever whether you are male or female, because here's why. Say, for example, you make $1,100 a month combined income. So you can see that here on the screen. For one child, you only have to pay $98. Oddly enough, it only costs $1 more if you have two children and $2 more if you have three children. You can see this across the line here, which makes no sense. So whoever put this together is completely insane because it doesn't make sense. Furthermore, that's 8.9% of the combined income of the parents. If you go down to, say, a middle class family who makes about $5,000 combined income, so this could be whether mom makes 20 grand and dad makes 40K, so it's like a 1/3, 2/3 split. One child is $848. This, by the way, is 16.9% of your income. So again, if you make $1,100 a month, it's only 8.9% of your income, but if you make $5,000 a month combined, it's 16.9%. So they hit the middle class pretty hard because $5K a month is about $60,000 a year for the household. Keep in mind too that two children, logically speaking, if you pay $848 for one, two would cost you roughly $1,690, right? $1,696 to be exact. No, it doesn't. It only costs roughly $400 more. Why is that? That doesn't make any sense. You know why? Because they're putting all of the overhead on the first child, saying that if you have to pay for housing or something like that, and in addition to your own housing, it would cost you $800 for this extra child. This is insane. This is not the case. Unless you live in a car, you have to already provide utilities and a home, a roof over your own head, whether you are male or female. Now, this doesn't include this amount that we're looking at on the screen, this $848, that's almost 17% of your income, does not include health insurance or a child care. So that could make that number go up or down depending on who is doing the actual paying and who's paying who. But again, just take a look at how these numbers are calculated. Only $400 more if you have two children. If you have three children, it's only $211 more. See what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense. What they're telling you is that basically it only costs about $200 to raise a child, excluding health insurance and childcare. I'm not talking about that. We're just talking about actually raising a child because health insurance and childcare on the Form 14 are extra expenses that will increase or decrease these amounts depending on who's paying. And we'll get to that in a different video. So again, these numbers don't make any sense. And then if you go even higher up, and let's say somebody's making two parents and they're making a total of $90,000 a year, which would be $7,500 a month. Now they pay $994 a month for the first child. Well, that's only 13.2% of the combined income. So if you're making hardly anything, you pay roughly 9%. If you're truly middle class, you pay almost 17%. But if you make quite a bit of money, it drops back down to 13%. And get this, if you make even more money, let's say you make combined $10,000 a month, and it can be combined in multiple ways, it's $1,164 a month, as you can see right here on the screen. And this is from the courts.mo.gov. You can look this up yourself if you like. That's only 11.6%. So it just has no rhyme or reason. It's not like it's a set percentage based upon your income. It varies. Somebody made this up one night, it looks like, while they were just bored, and decided to add some numbers here. If you look, let's add $4, $3, $3, $4, $3, $4, $3, and $3. $4 rather. So you can see that that there's a pattern here, and it really does not make any sense. And that's part of the reason why the Missouri court system is broken. The child support system is broken. And we'll talk about that more in a different video as well. But keep in mind that this portion that you pay, so let's say right up here, $9,000, one child is $1,100. Two children are not $2,200, two children only $1,568. But if you make, say, 50-50, then you each pay, not pay, but are responsible for half of this $1,100, which would be $550 apiece. However, if one of you, say, only makes 20 grand a year and the other one's making the rest of the money, then it's based upon the percentage that you make. How is that fair? You didn't have half a child. You didn't have 80% of a child. You didn't have 20% of a child. You each contributed to the child 50-50. So when I said you didn't have half a child, I mean you each have a whole child that you are equally responsible for. So shouldn't you equally be responsible for the financial obligations of the child? Again, we're talking about being equal here. So that's all for today. I'm sure we'll get some comments on this, and I look forward to it. Have a great day, and we'll see you on our next video when we'll talk about the actual Form 14.